Let's do, you know what? We're going to start with the easiest example I can ever in the world. You all know this one, right? What's 2 plus 1? Let's just start there. You're going to trust me on my crazy. What's 2 plus 1? Yeah, we all got it, right? That sucker be 3. Okay. Great. So then what's negative 2 plus negative 1? What's negative 2 plus negative 1 then? Don't think too hard about it. What does your gut tell you? Aren't you all so smart and beautiful? Look at that. That's it. It's negative 3. It's negative 3. And that might be able to be easily seen here. And honestly, like, I've seen people at every grade level struggle with this concept, kind of, okay? There's always been someone who always kind of struggles. And that's okay. When I have 2 negatives and I'm adding them together, don't think too hard. It's just that. Here's the reason why. Here's the reason why if I have negative 2 plus negative 1, I get negative 3, okay? Because sometimes if you're struggling with this, it's probably because you're overthinking it, and that's not a bad thing. But stop. Here's what's happening here, okay? I've got my handy-dandy number line. Aw, snap, number line. There's 0, 1, negative 1, negative 2, negative 3. What I'm saying when I say this is I am starting at negative 2, and then I've got a negative 1. I am going back another 1. I'm going back a negative 1. So I end up at negative 3. Negative 2 plus negative 1 is negative 3. Let's try a few more like that just to kind of cement that in our brains, okay? Burp, burp, burp. All right, we'll do... Give these guys a try, my dears. Give these guys a try, and then we'll talk about the answers, okay? No problem, hon. And thank you to everyone who's been sending the little gifts. You're very sweet. Nice, I'm seeing answers rolling in. You guys are doing so good. Also, if you give it a try, even if you don't get the answer right, you are still going to remember the answer better than if you tried nothing. So I appreciate everyone putting in answers, right or wrong. As long as you're trying your best, that's what really matters here. Putting forth that effort means you're ahead of everyone who's not. And I'm proud of you for that. Coffee. All right, beautiful. I'll give people a moment more and then we'll start going over them, okay? Oh, my eraser's right here. Thank you, I've been waiting to make that joke. That was as satisfying as I had hoped it would be. We finally have an eraser. Oh, it's good. It's the good stuff. He's so handsome. All right, let's do this. Let's do it. All right, so negative 5 plus negative 7. Let's see, that's negative 12. Right? All I'm doing here, actually, no, I won't even say it. I won't even say what I'm doing here. You guys can see the pattern. We'll write it down in a second. Burp, burp, burp. All right, now negative 20 plus negative 18. That sucker is going to be negative 38 for days. Hi, eraser. Pat to pat. And then we've got negative 55 plus negative 7. That guy is going to be negative 62. Nice. Oh, someone's asking, isn't a negative plus a negative a positive? You are thinking of a negative times a negative, and we're actually going to get to that right after this. So you are just one step ahead of me, buddy, but not for adding. That's a really good question, not for adding. All right, I am now going to erase this with my handy-dandy eraser. And we'll talk about the rule, okay? Because I know sometimes words help some people. For me, I like the images. For other people, words are going to help. So if the words don't help you, that's okay. But sometimes it helps people, so we're going to write it down, okay? Oh, where's my eraser? Hi, honey. That joke is not going to get old to me. All right, so here was the pattern. Actually, does anyone want to try and type in what they think the pattern was? Does anyone want to guess what the pattern was? All right, we're jumping ahead. Oh, I like the flower. A negative times a negative is a positive, but we were adding. All right, go for it if you want to say what you think it is. Okay, someone said you add two numbers like normal and it makes it positive. A negative plus a negative is a negative. Awesome. Awesome. You guys, those were beautiful ways of saying it. Here's how I'm going to write it down, okay? Those were great. If you have a number, you have two numbers with the same sign. So if you have two numbers, I'll add that. If you have two numbers with the same sign. So like when I say sign, I mean positive, negative, same sign. If you have two numbers with the same sign, add like normal. And attach that sign. What I mean by that, right, is when we had that 2 plus 1 equals 3. This is an example. And then we had negative 2 plus negative 1 equaled negative 3, right? I had a positive plus a positive. I just added those to get 3. And then negative plus that negative gave me a negative. Boom, 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 right? I'll circle it. Otherwise it just looks like double negative. That's all that happened there. I'm going to shut this, see if we can get some of that glare off the board. Oh, that helps a little. That helped a little. give people a chance to write this down if you need to write it down, my dears. Now I'm hearing a lot of the same thing, but we're going to talk about that in just a minute. It seems like there's some misconceptions to work through, and that's okay. I'm glad we're here to work through them. Ooh. That was cool. Thank you. But before we talk about the multiplication, because a lot of people are getting on that multiplication, right? If I multiply a negative with a negative, I'll get a positive. Before we get to multiplication, we are going to talk about one more addition rule, okay? We're going to talk about one more addition rule, and then we'll get to them. All right. I'm going to erase this now. Gave you guys some time to write it down. I hope you got it if you needed it. Again, if you need to go back, if you're just joining us, this will be up on YouTube later, okay? You can always go back and watch it. All right. Use my handy dandy eraser. That's just going to be, that's not going to get old for me. I'm good. And we're going to talk about one more addition rule. Again, we're going to go through it the way I like to, where we're going to see if we can figure it out, and then we'll write it down, okay? Doing things a little backwards. All right. We'll start again with something pretty basic, right? And then we'll make it a little harder. What's 3 minus 1? Oh, I need a tissue. Just a second. It is allergy season. Oofda. What is 3 minus 1? Beautiful. You guys are so good at this. It's 2. We know that one, right? Great. All right. Now, what if I did this? What about 1 minus 3? What about 1 minus 3? Ooh, I'm seeing some mixed things and I'm liking it. Some people are saying positive 2. Some people are saying negative 2. But which one is it? Is it positive or negative? Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Well, the answer, my dears, is it's going to be negative 2. And I'm going to tell you why. We'll talk about why. We'll practice it some more. And then we'll write down a hard, quick rule, okay? So why it's negative 2? Again, I'm going back to my handy dandy number line. Number lines are so great for explaining why things happen in mathematics, right? They're grounding, and I love that. All right, I've got 0 here, 1, 2, negative 1, negative 2. So for my first dude, oh, I need to add the 3's, my bad. We didn't have enough. There we go. For my first dude, 3 minus 1, right? That's like saying, yo, I'm starting at 3, and then I'm subtracting 1. I'm taking 1 away. And we all know that one, right? I take 1 away, and I'll end up at 2. That was easy. I just subtracted 1. Great. But now for my next one, I'm not starting at 3. I'm starting at 1. Yeah? We'll use a different color. I'll use blue. I like the color blue. Blue. Abadi, abada, abadi, abada. I'll stop. All right, so I'm starting at 1 this time, right? I'm starting at 1, and I'm subtracting 3. So I'm going back 1, 2, 3. Burp, burp, burp. I subtracted 3. So now I'm at that -2. That's how I got that. That's why that worked. It's all about where we're starting and which direction we're going. Oh, my dears, like I say always, don't even acknowledge the trolls, okay? The mods can take care of them. Honestly, they can be blocked, and I actually think it's great because even if you're not actively trying to learn something, you're now taking it in. You're now existing in this realm, taking in a little bit more than you would have. And I think that's great. Okay? Don't give them power. Ignore them. They're just the kid in class who wanted the attention and are going to act out for it. Let them just learn a little extra math while they're here, right? Happy you could get a little extra, buddy. Okay. Back to this anyways, because I want to focus on the good things people are doing, right? And I want to focus on what you need and helping you out a little bit and having a good time with you. All right. So here we are. We did that. That's why this works, right? It's about where we are starting and then where we go from it. Where we are starting and where we go from it. But there's another pattern here. That's why it works. But there's a quick, easy pattern that we can notice here that might make your life just a little bit easier. So let's see if we can figure it out, okay? Bum, bum, bum. All right, I'm going to throw up some other problems, and I want you to do your best, okay? Just put out your best guesses, because you'll remember it better anyways, even if you get it wrong. We're going to do... Some of these will be easy and straightforward. Some of them might be a little more confusing. All right, I'll give you guys a shot on these guys, and then we'll talk about it, okay? More coffee. Let's sit over here for a moment. I don't want to be in the way of the problem, but I still want to see the screen. Beautiful. I'm seeing beautiful things, my dears. Nice job. Nice job. Oh, this is looking good. Ooh, square roots, my friend, will be next time. Next time we're going to get into square roots. But if you cannot wait for next time, I actually already have a video up on my YouTube about square roots, okay? So you can go look that guy up. Or you can tune in next time. Oh, you guys are so awesome. Let's talk about it. Nice job. All right, we're going to talk through the answers, and then I'm going to see if we can get the pattern, okay? Hopefully some of you are starting to see it. I straight up use the headphones to keep some of the hair out of my face, I'm not going to lie. All right, so I have 5 minus 2. That gives me 3. We all probably got that one. Then I've got 2 minus 5. That is going to be -3. All right, 11 minus 22. That's -11. And then 16 minus 37. That is -21. I don't know, 21. Awesome. All right, so now here is the big thing that I wanted us to see, okay? I'll get out of the way a little bit here. I want to bring our attention to this problem, right in this set of problems. Oh no, is my green dried out? I haven't even used it. That's rough, buddy. Okay. Throw that one in the trash. Oh, I made it. And this guy. All right, what do we notice about those two sets of problems? Are there any connections that we can make? Are there any connections we can make about those two sets of problems? They are opposites, beautiful, but they're set up very similarly, right? They're flipped. We flip-flopped them. They're inverted, yeah. Some numbers below equal sign just in different places, yes. We're using the big minus and little minus. I like the way of saying that. They flipped. They're equal opposites. Ooh, I loved that way of saying it. All of you are saying this in such beautiful ways. The answers are the same, just positive and negative. Yes, 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 yes. So good, my dears. So what I want you to notice is these guys, like you guys said, they just flipped, right? 3 minus 1 flipped to 1 minus 3. And when that happened, the number stayed the same, but the sign changed. The sign changed, right? 5 minus 2, 2 minus 5, the sign changed. Is there something we can notice about when it's negative and when it's positive? What can we notice about when we got a negative and when we got a positive? The bigger number, the sign. Yes, the sign went with the bigger number. Beautiful. Oh, that's so good. The smaller number before the bigger number. Nice. When the bigger number was negative, we got a negative. Oh, you guys, you're so freaking smart and beautiful. Yes. The lower number is first. Yeah, the lower number is first when we got that. So something that's going to be, we're going to write this out, but the thing I want you to notice is the sign, the negative or the positive goes with the bigger number. When the bigger number is positive, the answer is positive. When the bigger number is negative, the answer is negative. Each time, we just had to subtract them, right? Each time, we really could have done 5 minus 2 to get 3, because that's how my brain best thinks about it, is doing like bigger minus smaller, right? That's how we were first taught. But then, if you do have it where it's like flipped around, it's just going to be negative. It's the same thing, just negative. Bam! That was easy. That was neat. Math is neat. I honestly think that. So let's write that out in word form, because some people really like words. And then we'll go on to that multiplication that you all were talking about earlier, okay? Bom, bom, bom. And some people are like, isn't this basic? Well, sometimes we need to review those basics to play with funner things now, don't we? You gotta learn to dribble the ball to play basketball. Because if you just skip over that, if you don't work on your little skills, you can't put it all together. And tomorrow, we're going to be building another little skill that's a little harder. Not tomorrow, next time. And then we're going to be building those up more and more and more, starting to put more and more pieces together to do cooler stuff. Okay? Listen, I'm punk rock and I teach math. Come at me. All right. Thank you for your assistance, Eraser. Let's see. How do I want to say this? I don't have always the best words, so I'm trying to put this together as best I can, okay? And we can even push this a little further into adding too, right? If I had 3 plus -1, it'd be 2. And if I had -3 plus 1, I would have -2. Okay? We can push that into adding as well with negatives. Isn't that kind of cool? At least I think so. Sorry about the glare of my ring light. Oh, my bad. There we go. Fixed it. And you probably could have found a better way to say that top part. I'm not the best with words in it, but if you needed a word thing to remember it, that'll help. Give you guys a moment to write that down if you need it. And then we are going to get to multiplying negative numbers, okay? Yeah, I'm not good with words either. We all have our strengths, right? And that's okay. I like multiplication too. All right, we ready to go, my dears? All right, let's do this. All right. Again, we're just going to throw up some example ones, and then we'll talk about the pattern, okay? And again, we're going to start with the things that are really nice and easy, right? I know some people are like, why is it so easy? Well, here's the thing. I'm not concerned right now. I'm not concerned right now. that you can run with this information. I'm not concerned that you can do it with big numbers, okay? What I'm concerned about, what I value right now, is that you understand why it's happening. Why is it happening? It's a lot of people can do the thing and not think about why it's happening. But that doesn't help us, okay? I got my first degree in just straight up mathematics, and I remember there was a course called four-year analysis, and I got a B+ in it. And I still to this day cannot tell you what four-year analysis is. That was a useless waste. That was a waste of my money. I took these huge numbers and I did huge things with them, but I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't know why I was doing it. So at the end of the day, it wasn't useful. It was a waste. So we're going to start with those small numbers. We're going to start with those concepts, and we're going to really work on why it's happening. Because at the end of the day, what I care about and what's going to make you a good mathematician and better at math is that you can think through why things are happening, that you can make those connections, that you can take these fundamental rules and go, well, if I apply them here, this is what I can do with them. That's what mathematics is. Okay? Let's get it. All right, so let's go with this. Basic warm-up to get us going. And I'm going to use the dot. I'm not going to use the x for multiplication because, as I've said before, we're going to get into using the x a lot as a variable. So I don't like to use it as a multiplication symbol because it'll be too confusing moving forward, right? I honestly don't think that it should have ever been used as a multiplication symbol, but that's how I feel. We're going to take all the iterations we can of the same problem and see what happens, okay? That's what we're going to do here. See if we notice anything, okay? Take this guy in all its forms. Ooh, I love it. I'm seeing people coming with their answers right off the gate. Oh, love it. I love it. You'll love to see it. You'll love to see it. Nice, 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 my dears. All right. Let's go. 2 times 3, I'm sure all of us got that one, right? 2 times 3 is 6. Oh, wow. Writing so good right there. That looked awesome. Now I have a positive 2 times a negative 3. A positive times a negative is a negative. So that was negative 6. Now we've got negative 2 times 3. It didn't matter if I switch which one's negative. I've got a negative involved. So my answer will be a negative 6. All right, and now for the kicker, the one that confuses people, the one that gets us all when we're like, oh, I messed up my negative at the beginning of my equation. A negative times a negative. A negative times a negative is a positive. So it's 6. And honestly, why that happens, right? I talk a lot about, like, we need to focus on why things happen. I just got done with a rant with it, right? This one, I'm going to step in front of it for a second. This one is one of those ones where there is a proof for it. And a proof is a mathematical thing that we do to say, hey, look, this will work for literally every situation. That's what a mathematical proof is. It's the evidence that everything will work, that you could do this with any numbers and it will follow these rules. There is a proof for it, but it is honestly not the nicest proof I've ever seen. It's kind of weird, and it doesn't at the end really explain why. It's just one of those situations where we get through it, hi friend, and we go, oh, I guess it has to be that. It's one of those proofs, which is not my favorite. It does show that it has to be that for every situation, but it's kind of one of those things where at the end of it, we just go, well, we really have no other choice. It has to be that thing, or literally all of our other rules fall apart. This negative times a negative is one of those mathematical rules where it has to be that way or other stuff falls apart. It's like a linchpin. It's like a, hey, I guess it has to be this, okay? Because things don't work if it doesn't work. You know what I'm saying? If we take it out, the rest falls apart. That's what this is. This is saying it has to be this way, otherwise other stuff doesn't work. That's not a satisfying answer. If you're like me, you're going, that doesn't make me happy. That doesn't feel right. That's not satisfying, right? Unfortunately, that's what it is. And there are different times in mathematics where that happens, right? Where sometimes we even made up mathematics to go, well, we're making this up so the rest works out. Because if we don't have this, everything else falls apart. It sucks. Take a moment to grieve that. Take a moment to go, I don't like that. That's not satisfying. It doesn't make your brain understand. But that's what it is. It's one of those things where a negative times a negative has to equal a positive, or the rest of this doesn't work. So just know, I tell you this. Yeah, non-tangible math. It is theoretical mathematics that makes this work. Which is like, that's some big brain stuff, right? That's some like brain go. But that makes, if it makes you feel any better, everyone's brain when they get there goes, okay? That's what that just does to you. That's just what it does to you. That's just what it is. And that's okay. That's what it is. And sometimes there are things like that. And I just want you to be aware of that there are things like that, and that you are not stupid for being confused by that. Okay? It's not satisfying. It's not what we hope it would be. Right? I can't draw you out a number line and be like, look, concretely, this is why this happens. That's something that that mathematicians a while ago just went, yep, that's what it has to be. We move on with our lives now. Okay? Cool. But let's take a moment to notice our patterns, okay? So when we have a single negative, it doesn't matter which number it attaches to. It is simply going to be negative. If we have something where it has the same sign, 2 times 3 gives us that 6. Negative 2 times negative 3 also gives us that 6. Okay? The same signs make it equal that. Make it a positive. All right, but it does get a little weirder. Let's do it this way. Oh, you actually don't need to do that. Someone's criticizing that there should be parentheses. Not if it's a dot. That's why I like the dots. If you had an X, yeah. Also, still no. You're getting into some really nitty gritty there. If I didn't have the dots, I'd need that. But you're getting nitty gritty there. Yeah. I can write this out in a paper and it'd be fine. I have written it out in papers and it's fine. All right. Good to know, though. All right. We're going to look at some other things with that. What if I had this? Let's just start there. I'm just going to start with that. What is that going to be? A -2 times a -6 times a 1. Nice job, my dears. Nice. I'm seeing -12 and I'm seeing 12. I like that we have both answers and we'll talk about why. Nice job. Oh, I love it. Awesome. This guy is going to be a +12. We've added this one. I didn't add it as another number to make like the multiplication more difficult because that wasn't my point in this, right? My point was the negative times a negative. These negatives will cancel each other out, right? Negative times a negative gives me a +12. And then I have times 1. And a positive times a positive is a positive. So I end up with just 12. Let's look if I made that -1 now. Burp, 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 burp. What if I did it this way? Oh, I don't like that glare on the board. It's the same numbers. I've just added a -1. What would it be now? Excellent job, my dears. Now I have added another negative. I will start with it just like I did up here. -2 times -6. That -2 times that -6 gives me a +12 times a -1. Now I have a positive times a negative, which gives me a -12. All right, we're going to make this one more step and then look for a pattern, okay? One more step and we look for a pattern. Excuse me, Eraserhead. Oh, I also like that I just have his head on here too. That's hilarious. I didn't even notice that. We'll do this way. We'll do 2 times -6 times -1. We'll do times -3. Making it a little harder, but I just want to keep all the numbers separate, right? That's my point in that. What is that guy going to be? Beautiful, beautiful, my dears. My big thing is that I'm looking that you're getting the sign right. I like that someone just wrote a positive number. That was beautiful because I was just kind of hoping to look for the sign in that. So that was delightful. I liked that. Nice. I'm seeing different answers and I love it. I love when I see different answers because that means we have something to talk about. And it also means that you tried even if you weren't entirely sure. And that's beautiful. I love it. All right. So We're going to take this step by step again to follow our rule of just a negative times a negative equals a positive. And a negative times a positive equals a negative to see what we get, okay? And then we'll look to see if there's any quicker rules we can make, okay? Negative 2 times negative 6 gives me that positive 12. All right. What's negative 1 times negative 3? Well, that's going to be a positive 3. So then we end up with 12 times 3, which is going to give me 36. Notice how the negatives paired up to give me 2 positives, so at the end I got a positive. That's why we're reviewing it. That's okay, hon. The negatives came together. They paired up to give me a positive. Whereas here, I had an odd amount of negatives, right? I had an odd amount of negatives, so my answer was still negative. If I have an even amount of negatives in a multiplication problem, I end up with a positive. Isn't that kind of cool? So I don't actually, if I can note at the beginning of my problem how many negatives I have, I can just multiply like normal and slap that negative on. Or I can multiply like normal and go, hey, there were 4 of them. There was an even number. It's going to be positive. That makes my life just a little bit easier. And I like that. Hey, you got the same answer, but you did the work different? I love that. That works because this wasn't the only way to do it. I just did it this way to show that point, but I love that. There are so many different ways to the same answer, and I think that's great.